Hey, what's up, guys? It's Cody Brockway back with another episode of Brockway's Final Bites. Yeah, that's always good news, right? And of course, as you know from watching previous videos on the channel, we've got Mr. Kermit the Frog, who never usually has too much to say, but he is waving this time, so that's nice. Say hi, Kermit. Yeah, he still is a mute. Okay, so we're starting something new on this channel. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about music through the decades. So this part of the series is going to be in the 70s. So in this video today, we're going to talk about hard rock and heavy metal from the 70s. And then in another video, we'll do prog rock from the 70s. And then we'll do in the 80s hard rock and metal. And then prog from the 80s, etc., etc. We'll go in the 90s, 2000s, so on and so forth, right? But anyway, let's cut that so you kind of have an understanding of what we're going to do now. Well, let's start in 1970 for the hard rock and metal edition. Of course, we have the album that arguably started heavy metal. It's Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath. Yeah, the very first album, we got the song Black Sabbath, which is one of the most iconic metal songs of all time. The Wizard, Behind the Wall of Sleep, N.I.B., Evil Woman, Don't You Play Your Games With Me, Sleeping Village, and The Warning. And this is also the one that has the bonus track with some studio outtakes and alternate takes and instrumental versions and the like as well. But anyway, yeah, classic album. Metalheads know this. I don't need to preach to the choir. Also released by the same band in the same year. Of course, I'm actually wearing their t-shirt. In the same year as, so 1970, their second album came out, and that's Paranoid. This has a lot of staples on it. Even if you're not really a Sabbath fan, you probably know a lot of the songs on this. We got War Pigs, Luke's Wall, Paranoid, Planet Caravan, which Pantera does a really nice cover of that. If you've never heard that, go check it out. Iron Man, Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Rat Salad, and Jack the Stripper, Furies Wear Boots. Again, this is just such a classic album, and if you're getting into the genre, this is a great place to start for sure. Continuing on with 1970, but a different band, we have an album that opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people across lots of different genres too. This is hard rock, heavy metal. Some albums are so hard to differentiate. It's it's either metal or it's hard rock, but hey, fuck it, it's good music. So anyway, this album had a big influence on prog rock, a lot of other types of and subgenres of rock, but we're putting it in the hard rock and metal category. We've got Deep Purple in rock. Sorry for the bit of the glare there, of course, but classic record. This is when Mark II, the lineup Mark II, because Deep Purple had a different lineup for a couple of albums before this, but this is where Ian Gillan, Roger Glover, John Lord, Ian Pace, and of course the great Ritchie Blackmore on guitar. This is where they really start coming to shine here. They've done the Jesus Christ Superstar thing before this, but this is the real deal. This is where it sort of starts for me. I do like some of the earlier Deep Purple, like Deep Purple, Book of Taliesin and all that, but this is where the gold really starts. This is just a classic, Deep Purple and rock. And we'll see more of Deep Purple in the future. We're kind of going chronologically here. So, 1971. This is definitely one of the greatest hard rock albums of all time. I don't think anyone will question that, especially if you're a drummer or a singer or a bass player or a guitarist. We've got Who. The Who. Who's next? They just put out a 50th anniversary box set of this. I really got to get it. It's got the Lifehouse Pete Townsend thing he was working on for a number of years. Around the same time as this, so I got to get that box set. But this is good enough for now. Every song on this is a classic. We got Baba O'Reilly, Bargain, Love Ain't for Keeping, My Wife, The Song Is Over, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, Behind Blue Eyes, and arguably possibly my favorite classic rock song of all time, Won't Get Fooled Again. It's up there with Stairway to Heaven. That's on the next album, but that's such a classic record and got lots of great bonus material on here too. 1971, even just that cover is so iconic. Look at that. Every rock fan knows this album. Just like every rock fan knows this album, Led Zeppelin 4. Now, I could have put probably 5 Led Zeppelin albums in here, but I whittled it down to this one. This is such an incredible album. There's not a single drummer worth their salt who's started drumming after 1971 that was not influenced by this album in some way, shape, or form. This is just incredible. We got Black Dog, Rock and Roll, The Battle of Evermore, Stairway to Heaven, oh yeah, Misty Mountain Hop, Four Sticks, oh yes, Going to California When the Levee Breaks. This is a classic record, and it's produced by the guitar player Jimmy Page. Anyway, classic Zeppelin, one of the greatest albums of all time. and certainly a genre-defining album across many genres, because there's influences of folk, there's blues, there's metal, there's all of this stuff. Just they had really Zeppelin got it, you know. Anyway, I could go on for hours and hours about all of these albums, but we got to keep it a bit short. So we've got 1972, The Return of the Purple, Machine Head. This is my favorite Deep Purple album. This is such an incredible, incredible album. Gosh, what can I say? Highway Star, Maybe I'm a Leo, Smoke on the Water, Lazy, Pictures of Home, drums galore. Ian Pace, however you pronounce it, but regardless, and he's left-handed too, so he does it all backwards for me, and a lot of drummers out there, but this band is absolutely incredible. I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said about this? This is one of rock's landmark albums. All of these all had massive impact on the time and what was to come, and still to this day, these are all highly influential records. Moving on to 1973, we've got Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies. So when Alice Cooper came on the scene, there was nobody like him. Now you see the sort of theatrics and things a lot with newer artists, and people have sort of taken it to different levels, but Alice Cooper is the original, and there is no one like him. Nobody. And his band, this is the original Alice Cooper lineup. But if you know anything about Alice Cooper, you know that after the next album, which is 1974's Muscle of Love, he would sort of go in a different direction, and he would actually kind of fire his original band, but he's always had great guys playing with him, great musicians. So this is the original band. It's fucking great. Then the new musicians he's had with him. He's got Nita Strauss playing guitar with him right now, and she is fucking awesome. Great guitar player. But he's always been surrounded by great musicians, and but the whole shock rock thing, with the makeup and hanging himself on stage and the guillotines and all that, nobody had seen this when Alice Cooper originally came out, and he's incredible. Sticking on the path with 1973, we've got Get Your Wings by Aerosmith. Yeah, there's a hype sticker sort of covering up part of the album cover. Sorry about that, but here you can see the full band picture on the back. There you go. A classic album. This is Aerosmith's second album. And of course, I could have put Rocks on here too. I didn't. I probably should have, because that's also my favorite Aerosmith album. But without this, you couldn't have got to Rocks. So this is, sorry, I said 1973. This is 1974. My mistake. Sorry. Same Old Song and Dance, Lord of the Thighs, Spaced, Woman of the World, SOS, Too Bad, Train Kept It Rollin', my favorite version of that song, Seasons of Wither, and Pandora's Box. My God, this is a great album, and highly influential in the rock and metal community. This is where Steve Tyler's voice really came into. He sort of came into his own with his singing. The first album had covers on it. This album doesn't have any covers. The first album, he was sort of singing in an old blues Johnny Winter sort of vein, but this is where the real Steven Tyler is starting to get more comfortable behind the mic, and this was coming up 50 years ago now. Can't believe that. And he's got some major health problems going on, so I'm wishing him a fast and speedy and super good recovery. Aerosmith are supposed to be on the road, but he had some issues with his vocal cords and his larynx, so it's pretty dangerous, especially when you're 75 years old. But I'm hoping that he can make a full recovery. So let's send our well wishes to Steve Tyler, and we will move on to the next album, which came out in 1974. Now, this is Mark III, the lineup of this band. We've talked about Mark II twice now, but this lineup consists of David Coverdale, Ritchie Blackmore, Glenn Hughes, John Lord, and Ian Pace. This is Deep Purple from 1974. This is Burn, another incredible album. Burn, Might Just Take Your Life, Lay Down, Stay Down, Sail Away, You Fool No One, What's Going On Here, Mistreated, and A200. This is a classic album. This would also sort of form as a birth of some sort, because they would do two albums with this lineup, and then the third one with Tommy Pullen on guitar. Then the band would break up, and David Coverdale and John Lord and Ian Pace would actually go on to form a very early version of Whitesnake. So talk about influential. I mean, my God. Deep Purple, Burn, great album. It's heavy as fuck. It's a great album. So we're going to go ahead to 1976. So when Ritchie Blackmore would leave Deep Purple, he would start up his other own band and have an incredible couple of albums with them. It's Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow with Rising. So you might know that I'm a huge Ronnie James Dio fan, and this has Ronnie James Dio on it, on vocals. This is the second Rainbow album. Then this is three so he did three with the band. He did the first one, self-titled, then he did Rising, and then he did Long Live Rock and Roll. Then he left the band, joined Black Sabbath, did a couple albums with them, then he left Black Sabbath and did his solo career for a long time. But this is one of the greatest. This is just a fantastic album. I'm going to say it's one of the greatest albums of all time, but especially the song Stargazer is one of the essential metal tracks. But I like the whole album. Terror Woman, Run with the Wolf, Starstruck, Do You Close Your Eyes, of course Stargazer, and A Light in the Black. There's only 6 tracks, but a lot of them, especially the last 2, are 8-9 minutes long. Produced by Martin Birch. Totally fantastic, and this is the deluxe version that comes with the bonus tracks, the unreleased material, different mixes, and things like that. But this is an essential album. And next up, we're going to a live album from recorded in 1978. This is the Buck Set. This has got 6 or 7 shows. Yeah, about 6 or 7 shows in the original LP from this tour. This is UFO, Strangers in the Night. There's lots of guitar players, lots of bands were highly influenced by this, Metallica to name one at least, but there's tons and tons more. Rush are also influenced by UFO. They actually toured with them, I guess, the year before this. So a lot of bands across all sorts of genres have been influenced by UFO. And Michael Schenker on guitar, he's unbelievable. He's especially on this, the live versions of Rock Bottom on this album, or these albums, I should say, is incredible. And the versions of Lights Out and his guitar playing on all this is just totally fantastic, and still influences leagues of guitar players to this day. If you haven't heard any of these albums, I definitely suggest you, at the end of the video, go check out some of these, because they're all classic. They're all fantastic. Classic, fantastic. There we go. So we're going to, go to 1978. Now, what hard rock / heavy metal album came out in 1978 that we should talk about? Well, I know the one you're thinking, and we're going to mention that in a bit. We got Power Age by AC/DC. Another highly influential album. This is doesn't really have any big hit singles that you hear on the radio on it, but there's lots of diehard rock and roll fans who just appreciate the hell out of this album, myself included. We got Rock and Roll Damnation, Down Payment Blues, Give Me a Bullet, Riff Raff, Sin City, What's Next to the Moon, Gone Shootin', Up to My Neck in You, and Kicked in the Teeth. This is a classic album, and this is classic AC/DC. 1978, Bon Scott was still around in the band, and we'll get back to AC/DC in a second, but very influential record. And we'll come back to AC/DC in a minute here. We got to do another album from 1978. Yeah, you know what it is. It's Van Halen's first record. My God. The guitar playing on this, you don't even need me to tell you, but I will tell you that it's still, people are hearing this for the first time today, to this very day, 45 years on, and it is changing the lives of a lot of musicians. Guitar players especially. Drummers too, of course, Alex Van Halen, fantastic. Bass guitar, bass playing Michael Anthony, and of course David Lee Roth with that with the personality of his behind the mic. It was really happening on this record, but guitar players specifically still are worshiping this album to this day, rightfully so. It is one of the greatest guitar albums of all time, one of the greatest everything albums of all time. Classic record. Van Halen, 1978. And back to AC/DC, of course, 1979 now. We've got Highway to Hell, classic album. A lot of guitar players, when they're first starting out, maybe they like Van Halen, and they probably like AC/DC too. They learn the chords to Highway to Hell. Bow down, down, bow down, down. You don't need me to sing it, you know it already. But classic album, still very influential to this day. I know a lot of people who've told me personally that this was a big influence on them, and a lot of famous musicians around the world love this album. There's certain bands that attempt to be carbon copies of this album. Now, they know who they are. I don't need to say who who they are. If you feel like you know who they are, you can mention them in the comments if you want. They're great bands too, but AC/DC's the original. We got Highway to Hell, Girls Got Rhythm, Walk All Over You, Touch Too Much, Beating Around the Bush, Shot Down in Flames, Get It Hot, If You Want Blood, You Got It, Love Hungry Man, and Night Prowler. Yeah, this is a classic. And this would be the last one, actually, with Bon Scott before he would pass away. About six or 8 months later, early 1980, he would pass away, unfortunately. R.I.P. Bon Scott. We know an AC/DC album that would come out in 1980 that we're going to have to talk about another time. So we got two more for 1979. And then that'll be the end of the video. But 1979, we can't forget Judas Priest Unleashed in the East. Now, I could have thrown in a couple of the very early albums like Sad Wings of Destiny and all of that. But you know what? This is a live album, and it really has it. It has it all. And it has the great performances and songs from those other albums, too. I mean, I could have put on Killing Machine as well, another great album. But here we've got Exciter, Running Wild, Sinner, The Ripper, The Green Manalishi with the two-pronged crown, which is actually a Fleetwood Mac cover, Diamonds and Rust, Victim of Changes, Genocide, Tyrant, and that's the original album. Then we've got the bonus tracks on here. We got Rock Forever, Delivering the Goods, Hellbent for Leather, and Starbreaker. This was originally recorded in 1979, so it definitely makes the cut. Victim of Changes, and then we got Glenn Tipton and KK Downing on here, and Rob Halford just firing on all cylinders. The whole band is just incredible, and this is definitely a huge influence on many rock and metal fans alike. This is a classic record. And last but not least, for the 70s hard rock and metal video, how could I not include Motorhead? Yes, this is the vinyl LP set. Overkill, what a great album. My gosh, the drumming on that song alone. That's probably the first time anyone actually heard fast double bass drumming and realized that they were listening to fast double bass drumming. It just totally, as soon as it comes on, it's just the drums alone. It just grabs you and just holds you there, and it's got you there for the whole album. We got Overkill, Stay Clean, I Won't Pay Your Price, I'll Be Your Sister, Capricorn, No Class, Damage Case, another Motorhead classic, Tear You Down, Metropolis, not the Dream Theater song, and Limb from Limb. And of course this has the two extra LPs, which is live in March of 1979. But Motorhead just kicking ass and taking names. Of course, we know that band would influence many, many, many bands, including Iron Maiden and Metallica and Megadeth and all these other bands that we're going to talk about in the 1980 portion of this series. Anyway, so stay tuned for what we got in the future, because there's going to be lots of cool videos coming out. And thanks again for watching another episode of Brockway's Vinyl Bites. Follow us on here. I'm going to be making a Facebook page and probably an Instagram page for us soon, so stay tuned for that. We'll put links in the videos when those happen. But anyway, thanks for watching, and hope you like and subscribe, and leave a comment, whatever you want to do. Share with your friends, tell everyone you know. And go listen to these albums, okay? Thanks a lot. Rock out!